Hello and welcome. I'm Justin Ellickson Andrews, your Executive Director of the NGPA, and I am super excited to be joined along our friends here at Delta and Endeavor to talk to you all about a special community pathway program that's exclusive just to you all NGPA members. During this webinar, you're going to hear from the team at Propel about the ins and outs of the Propel program, as well as hearing from Team Endeavor, who will share highlights of flying for Delta's wholly owned subsidiary. From the NGPA side of the house, I have Brett Hochholter and Amber Brierly here to share information about the application process, as well as NGPA's Ascend mentorship program. Once we hear from all of our teams, we will open the floor up as time permits to take questions from you all, and you can submit your questions in the Q&A feature down here in Zoom. First, on this program, just as a side note, this program that we are talking about here tonight is something that our teams have been working for many months on. And I just feel so incredibly honored that Delta and the Propel team has looked to the NGPA for top tier talent and have made these opportunities possible. So thank you to Kelvin and the entire team at Delta and Propel. I'd like to also thank Brett, who is on the call with us today, for his help in honestly and truly being one of the driving forces and seeing this entire program come to fruition. So Brett, thank you. We could not have done this without your help. Well, awesome. So now, without further ado, I'm gonna pass the mic over to our friends at Delta, who are gonna share some information about Propel. Delta, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Justin, and thanks for the invite to speak with the team today. And I'd like to echo your comments about Brett. He's done a tremendous amount of work on getting this program off the ground. So I'm going to share my screen and show a brief presentation about the Propel program. All right, so just a quick high-level overview of Propel. So it's Delta's pilot career pathway program. It's been around since 2018. It was launched as the first pathway program, pilot pathway program to a major legacy carrier. We offer pathways for a variety of different pilots who are interested in becoming a Delta pilot one day. Our largest pathway, which I'll be focusing on tonight, is our college or collegiate pathway. We also have pathways for our own internal employees, which is our company pathway, a new CFI pathway that we'll be launching later this year in conjunction with our flight school partners, and an academy that we offer in conjunction with Skyborne, which is a flight school down in Vero Beach, Florida. We have just under 1,000 active participants in Propel, and just over 160 who have actually completed the program as of today and are now flying the line for Delta. So those are people who came through our collegiate and company pathways. So in 2024, we've seen some changes really across the industry as it relates to pilot hiring. So we're going to talk about how the Propel program is adapting as a result of those changes. And I'll talk about that more in just a minute. And I'll really focus on the things that Propel offers. So the biggest piece of that is a job offer to both Delta Airlines and to Endeavor Air, our wholly owned subsidiary. And that's really the biggest change to our program of late, which is with your selection to the Propel program, you are eligible for both of these job offers. So in theory, you would never have to interview again. You interview as a college student, and you have your entire aviation career locked in without having to interview further. You're also eligible for a mentorship program in the form of a Delta pilot who will be your mentor through the duration of your time in the program. Engagement opportunities at our world headquarters in Atlanta, and of course travel privileges on Delta. Those are available within 6 months of your graduation date once you're accepted to the Propel program. So as I mentioned, I'm going to focus primarily for this discussion on our collegiate pathway because that relates specifically to this special opportunity through the NGPA. So first, in terms of just our general eligibility criteria for our Propel College pathway, you would have to attend one of Delta's partner institutions, I'll show that list on the following slide. You have to be a junior, senior, or someone who's graduated within the past 6 months and enrolled in or graduated from a major that provides restricted ATP eligibility. So long story short, you're in a flight program at one of these universities where you qualify for either the 1,000-hour or the 1250 restricted ATP. You'll need your minimum. You'll need a minimum of a private pilot certificate, which most people would have by their junior year in one of these collegiate flight programs, and to have completed one Part 141 flight course there at the school. The others are just related to typical pilot requirements in the U.S. So you need a U.S. passport or a passport allowing free entry and exit from the U.S. As well as a first-class medical certificate. So those are our high-level eligibility requirements. Our partner schools, we have 10, 11 if you consider the two Embry-Riddle campuses as separate entities. And you'll see the map here with our schools primarily on the east and Midwest part of the country. But the reason that I mention this is if you are attending one of these schools and you do have all the eligibility, meet all the eligibility criteria that I've mentioned, then you can apply to Propel at any time. We will be reopening our window as of September. We had recently paused it because of all the program changes that we've recently gone through, but everything will be back live again as of September 1st. However, if you are not attending one of these partner institutions, but you are at a collegiate aviation program elsewhere in the country, then that's where this special opportunity comes into play. And that's through something we call our partner organization pathway. So if you otherwise meet the eligibility criteria that I talked about, so the first class medical, junior, senior, or recent graduate of a college aviation program, all those criteria, and if you're affiliated with NGPA, then you have a special opportunity to apply through that particular partnership. And I believe Brett's going to discuss a little bit more in detail about how that process is going to work. So if you are nominated by NGPA, you will be provided with a specific code that you'll need in our application process. The way that works, this is a screenshot from our application system. So once you click on the Apply Now button on the Propel website and click on the partner organization pathway, you'll see a screen similar to this. You will choose the organization with whom you're affiliated, and then you will enter the verification code. That's what will be provided to you by NGPA. So that is the mechanics of how that particular process works. And just to recap, what are the benefits of the Propel program? Again, it is the job offer to both Delta and to Endeavor at the same time. The Delta pilot mentor who will be with you throughout your duration of the time in the program. Standby travel privileges on Delta once you are within 6 months of your graduation date. A free subscription to Log 10 Pro. So we partner with Corodyne Aviation, which is the company that produces the Log 10 Pro electronic logbook, and you will receive a free subscription to use that tool from the time you are accepted into the program through the point in which you get your first airline job with Endeavor. And then you can continue that subscription if you wish by paying a discounted rate. And then finally, as I mentioned previously, special engagement activities at Delta's world headquarters in Atlanta to include tours of our training facilities. Here's what the Propel program looks like sort of from start to finish. So you go through a selection process that includes submitting an application, an online assessment that measures cognitive skills, so things like hand-eye coordination, reaction time, multitasking, those sorts of things, and then an HR-style interview. So for those who are attending one of our partner universities, those interviews happen in person at the school. For those who are applying through this special process through NGPA, those interviews would be conducted virtually. So once you're selected, you would generally stay at the school where you received your flight training and build your time as a flight instructor. Once within 12 months of reaching ATP minimums, you would receive a invitation from Endeavor to fill out an application for them, and then they would assign sort of a tentative class time frame based on your expectations around completing your restricted ATP minimums. And then finally, once at Endeavor, you would stay there, you would upgrade at your earliest opportunity, and then after 24 months of 24 months active service as a captain, then you would have the opportunity to transition and flow to Delta and be onboarded as a Delta pilot. So that is the process essentially from start to finish. So that is my presentation, and I will hand it back over to Justin.
Thanks so much, Kelvin. And next up, we have Endeavor, and Max is going to take it away for Endeavor. Max, you have the floor.
Thank you, Justin. Hi, everyone. My name's Max. I work on the pilot recruitment team here at Endeavor Air. So let me pull up my slides here. All right. So thank you, Kelvin, for kind of touching base with that. My slides are going to be a little more focused on the life here at Endeavor Air, our bases, kind of what to expect when you're starting off with us. And then I will go a little bit deeper into that CAP program, that career advancement program that we have with Delta. So as a high overview, Endeavor Air is the wholly owned regional subsidiary of Delta Airlines. We are headquartered up here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have about 11 maintenance bases and 6 crew bases. And then I will later down the slides kind of show you where those bases are located. And then about average, we do around 700 daily flights, and we hit around 140 different cities across North America. Predominantly more on the east side of the country. I always tell people if you hit the Mississippi, you've gone too far west, but we'll see that down in later the slides. So our fleet right now, we have the CRJ 900 and the CRJ 700. We used to have the 200, but we no longer fly that. And so we are just down to the CRJs. They're a 60-seat configuration, and we also are the largest operator of the CRJ 900 aircraft fleet in the entire world, which is pretty cool. And then up here in Minneapolis, we actually have the world's largest CRJ training facility. So once you're on board with us, it's a pretty fun place to kick off your aviation career and learn how to become a 121 carrier pilot. So this is our routes. They might be a little out of date right now just because they're consistently changing, but this is kind of a rough idea of where we are. You'll see up there in Minneapolis, that's one of our bases that's going to be predominantly senior. So we don't typically see a lot of our brand new FOs getting Minneapolis. And then just moving a little east, we have Detroit. Detroit's kind of in the middle right now. So we've had a couple classes that have got Detroit right out of training. And then, but it fluctuates. So depending on what the timeline is and where we are needed, it just kind of changes. Our most junior bases and predominantly junior, where you can most likely expect your first couple of months, are going to be over in New York. We fly both out of JFK and LaGuardia. So if you get New York base, you do have to go and fly out of both airports there. Kind of in the middle there, you'll see Cincinnati. Cincinnati is going to be a junior base as well. So that's another easy base to get as a first-time FO. And then our furthest south base for pilots is going to be Atlanta. Atlanta is kind of like Detroit. It fluctuates quite a bit. Right now, we've increased our flying down in Atlanta. So we're seeing a lot more newer FOs being able to hold a line there, which is pretty good. But yeah, you can see we kind of hit a little north into Canada and then a little bit in the Bahamas as well, just depending on where we're needed to go. So as a first year FO, you're going to be starting off at a rate of 101.50 an hour with that 75-hour monthly guarantee. So basically that all just says, even if you don't fly 75 hours and you're sitting on, for example, reserve or anything, you don't have to stress about your income or anything like that. You get a guaranteed 75-hour monthly pay, and that starts day one on training with us. So Typically, you get your first big boy job pretty early on. Going down, we have a per diem pay of $2.15 an hour while you're on your assignments. We have the same commuter policy as Delta Airlines, and I can tap into that as a little bit more if you guys have any questions. We do offer unassigned flying to be picked up at 150%. So if you were to do a little quick math, it's at like 150 some dollars an hour, which is pretty good. And then we also have 100% deadhead pay and 100% cancellation pay. Some additional compensation, we do customs pay, trip and duty rig. That 3rd-year captain pay rate, it's a little confusing. That's going to be the rate that you start off when you upgrade to captain. So typically we see that take around 2 years. So we typically see the 3rd year. So that's why we say 3rd-year captain pay. But it just really depends on when you build your time, how fast you build it. And then once you upgrade, you'll be starting off at that 159.69 an hour. Depending, most of you guys probably wouldn't qualify for this if you go through the NGPA, but we do offer sign-on bonuses if you have prior 121 experience. Those range between $20,000 and $40,000. But a bonus that you guys do qualify for through our CAP program, which advances you to Delta, you can qualify up to $110,000, which is pretty cool. And then we also have 401k company match starting on day 1 of training. So kind of what Kelvin was saying, this is kind of the flow over into Delta. We call this program CAP, Career Advancement. If you guys want to start looking at that 3rd bubble, that's probably where most of you guys will start off. So you'll come to us through Propel. You'll get a qualified job offer with us. Reach out to us about 12 months in advance to reaching your minimums, and we will work together on kind of getting you placed into a class. Typically, on average, we're seeing about 2 years right now for a new FO to upgrade to captain. And that's when that bonuses kind of can kick in with that career advancement program. So once you upgrade, you get a $40,000 sign-on or upgrade bonus. You fly for 1 more year as a captain, you get another 40,000. And then once you hit that 2-year mark, the 24-month minimum that Propel requires for you to flow over to Delta, you also get a $30,000 bonus. We like to call that one the goodbye bonus because typically you're receiving it right before you leave and head over to Delta. So moving on, so minimums to qualify for our career advancement program. So once you're working with us, it's pretty easy. You just have to do a minimum of 24 months active service as an Endeavor Air captain. And then that's when you'd be eligible to flow over to Delta. Pretty easy to stay enrolled into this program. You'll get the option as soon as you are eligible to upgrade. Those qualifications are you have no DUIs in the last 10 years. You'll have to submit a background check, fingerprint, and then a drug test as well. You'll have no less than an honorable discharge from military, and then requirements related to training records, disciplinary letters, attendance, all of that. As long as you're in a good standing with us and you don't have anything on your training record or any indication, then you should be good. So it's a pretty easy program to get into. I see all our pilots kind of taking advantage of it. And then that is with that $110,000 bonus as well. So yeah. So that is kind of what the career advancement program is like here at Endeavor Air. I know there's a question or Q&A at the end of this. If you have any questions, just let me know. But thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Max. I appreciate it. And yes, if anybody has questions, please feel free to go ahead and submit those now into the Q&A feature in Zoom, and we will answer those at the end. But right now we're going to move on to Brett, who is going to talk to you all about the application process. Brett, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Max and Kelvin, for being here and taking the time to kind of present. My name is Brett Hohalter. I'm currently a Delta captain on the 7576 based out of LA. And I've been kind of liaisoning between the NGPA and Delta to kind of get this to come to fruition. So both Delta and the NGPA are super excited about being able to offer this to everyone. I'll just kind of reiterate what Kelvin mentioned about minimum requirements to apply on the NGPA side. So before we kind of get started, this is going to be a two-step process. The first one will be the NGPA application process, which is what we're going to detail here. And then the successful candidates from that will then go into the Propel process, which Kelvin detailed earlier. So speaking to the NGPA side, the minimum requirements to apply, you need to be an active NGPA member, attending a flight program that qualifies candidates for restricted ATP, and also not attending a Propel Collegiate Partner School. Be a junior, senior, you're in college or within 6 months of graduation and working as a flight instructor, your first class medical, current passport, freely able to enter and exit the US, and legally eligible to work in the US as well. And as far as the process and timeline for the application process on the NGPA side, so currently the application window is open. It closes, so you'll have until July 31st to complete that application via the link that was sent out. Successful candidates will be announced mid-August. At that time, we'll notify those candidates, and then they will also be paired with an NGPA mentor. The purpose of that is to provide the successful candidates mentorship through the application and interview process at Propel to allow them to the most successes possible through the program. And once the Propel application will open on September 1st. So September 1st, the successful candidates will be able to go to the Propel application, accomplish that, and start the process through Propel with the application, the online assessment, and then the HR style interview virtually. Successful candidates through all three of those steps at Propel will then be provided the QJO or the qualified job offer and accepted into the Propel program. And that's kind of just a quick and brief timeline and process of what we have as far as the NGPA side and kind of how it ties in with Propel. I think that's all I got.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Brett. And
yes, thank you.
For everyone who is listening in, to reiterate what Brett said, the application window is open now for NGPA. So please make sure you get your applications in before the end of the month. If you need help locating that, you can go over to our website, ngpa.org, and you can find a link to the Propel Pathway program underneath member resources. Next, we are going to turn it over to Amber, who's going to talk to us about the Ascend Mentorship Program. Amber, mic is yours.
Thank you, Justin. So I'm here to talk about the Ascend Mentorship Program. Our mentorship program has been a cornerstone of NGPA for several years, but in 2021, we rolled out a new platform called Cooper. And this platform has been really awesome. It's been able to allow us for a much more seamless and efficient mentorship experience. So just wanted to highlight a few key stats on the program. Since we've rolled it out at the moment, we have a total of 675 participants in the program, 272 mentors, 480 mentees with about a 72% match rate. So by joining the Ascend Mentorship Program, you can get paired with a mentor who can help you achieve your aviation goals. So even if you're starting out or you're looking to connect to someone at various airlines, it's a great way to network and meet a mentor. Now, moving on to the next slide, you want to know, how do I join the mentorship program? So it's really simple and straightforward. Make sure you're an NGPA member, then you can visit our website under the member resources and go to the mentorship page. This is where you can sign up. You just watch a brief orientation video so you can gain an understanding of what the program is and kind of how it works. Acknowledge the code of conduct, and then you can create a profile on Cooper, which is where you kind of set up your mentee or mentorship profile on the platform. From there, you can get paired with a mentor. So this is great for mentees who are looking for specific role models in the industry. So you can search for keywords, you can look for flight instructors, Delta, etc. So this is where you can contact and reach out and pair yourself with someone that fits kind of what you're looking for. So as a mentee, it's a very mentee-driven program. We want the mentees to be able to reach out first and kind of start that initial dialect between mentee and mentor. And then from there, we want to set some goals and work with your mentor to help kind of excel yourself in your aviation career. So Cooper, the platform, allows for the mentee and the mentor to set goals, timelines, and really get connected and kind of plan out your future in the industry. So it's a great way to get engaged and participate with your mentor. There's also some good icebreakers in there if you don't know what to talk about right away. And then lastly, just getting engaged and participating in the program. It's crucial for getting the most out of the Ascend program. So just some ways to stay engaged. Maintain regular communication with your mentor. As I said, and I'll hop on this a lot, it is mentee driven. So we do expect the mentees to reach out to their mentors first. And if you do have any issues, don't hesitate to reach out to our mentorship email at NGPA, and we can help you with that. Tracking progress, Cooper, our tool gives badges and awards as you're in the program, and you can track your progress and your interactions and your goals. There's also a bunch of different steps you can take and interactive videos and webinars that you can tune into. And then lastly, participate in the program activities. So take part in webinars like this. There's networking events at the Palm Springs winter warm-up, for example. And these provide additional learning opportunities to help you build a strong network. So if you're not already in the Ascent mentorship program, seriously consider it. It's a really great way to network and meet new people in the industry and have a good, strong mentor throughout your career.
Thank you, Amber, and thank you to everyone who has been on the webinar with us so far. And please do take advantage of the mentorship program. NGPA invests a lot into the Ascend program, and it's viewed upon very highly. Obviously, we thought so. Otherwise, we would not have put it as part of the Propel criteria. So please take advantage of Propel, and of course take advantage of Ascend, even if you choose that this isn't the right pathway for you. Man, Kelvin, I think you've really set us up to be right on time. I think Delta really is the on-time machine because it is 7:30 on the nose, right where we thought we were going to be. We have a couple of questions in the queue, so we'll get to those in just a moment. Thank you for submitting those. If you have any more, please continue to take advantage. But the first question that I'd like to kick it over to Team Propel is why Propel? What is in it for our NGPA members, and why should they get involved?
Yeah, thanks, Justin. So I think probably the biggest thing that I would say there is a lot of these pilot pathway programs are very similar in nature and in terms of how they're structured. Most of them, that are tied to a mainline major carrier require going through a regional and then spending some time as captain before ultimately transitioning to the major airline. I think what we've done that's a little unique with Propel is really remove the barrier to entry for that intermediate stage at the regional level. So, getting accepted to this program while still a college student, you're getting a job offer to a regional airline and to a mainline airline. So, you literally could have your 40-year aviation career ahead of you with no additional interviews that you would have to contend with. And the other thing that I would say with our partnership, specifically with Endeavor, it has a company culture that's very similar to Delta's. Our training programs are very similar, so it is a pretty seamless transition from one carrier to the next. So those, I'd say, are some of the major benefits of the Propel program.
Yeah, a one-stop shop, really. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. First question we have coming in the queue, and I think this is for you as well, Kelvin, is so the question: I started college January of 2023, and I won't be a junior until next semester. Can I still apply to the pathway now?
Right. So you do have to be a junior based on academic credit in order to apply. So not necessarily your third year of school. If you're coming into the university with any sort of dual enrollment credits or any sort of credits that came with you, then just as long as you are a junior by academic credit, you'd be eligible to apply, but not before then.
Got it. Thank you. Next question we have is the Q&A slide mentioned a restricted ATP as a minimum requirement. If someone already has their commercial and CFI through Part 61, are they eligible?
I don't believe so. So if you've gotten your commercial certificate and CFI at a Part 61, then you're not going to meet the the FAA criteria for receiving a restricted ATP. So unfortunately, you would not be eligible for the you wouldn't be eligible to apply for Propel.
Understood. Thank you. Next one. This one is open to the floor, Max or Kelvin. Maybe Max, beyond this opportunity, are there any similar programs out here like this for someone who maybe has been out of college for quite a bit of time?
There are multiple different programs. I don't know specifically anything close to anything with Delta, but there's so many airlines throughout the world that I'm sure there is. I know a bunch of regional carriers. We all have our own programs as well. So if you're looking to get into that way, and then they have their own connections with the main lines. So I think just taking research, look out, go find contacts of regional carriers, main lines, and kind of just reach out, ask your questions, get connected, and that would be the best way to find your answer.
Sure. And if they wanted to get connected with the Endeavor recruiting team, can you remind us again how they would do that?
Yes. So I have an email and a phone number. If I'll give everyone a second if you want to write this down. And I could type it in the chat box as well. But we have a pilot recruiter hotline number. This number goes right to pilots right on our line. So you're talking pilot to pilot and kind of get to hear their story, what they did, how they got into Endeavor. But the number is 612-266-1470. And then we also have an email. It's just pilot.outreach@endeavorair.com.
Super. Pilot.outreach@endeavorair.com. Got it. And also, please make sure that you take advantage of NGPA's Ascend mentorship program as another avenue to get career advice like you've asked here in the chat. There's hundreds of NGPA members with a range of experience that I'm sure can help guide you along your journey. I would not be where I am without having a mentor, and the NGPA certainly has helped me in my professional career as well. So shameless plug for our own Ascend program. Another question we have here is on medicals. So first class medical certificate lapsed to third class, still valid, or need to renew first class privileges?
No, that's perfectly fine. Privileges can revert to third class just as long as you hold a first class medical certificate. Even if the privileges have reverted, you can apply to Propel.
Got it. All right. Well, I think that clears out our Q&A queue. So if anyone has any more questions, please feel free to take advantage of the contact information that we've provided earlier, or you can always reach out to the team here at the NGPA, operations@ngpa.org. I know we've thrown a ton of email addresses out at you. Just go onto our website, you can find a list of contact information, and I'm sure we can get you directed over to whomever is best suited to answer your question. But I wanted to thank, again, our panelists joining us today, Max, Kelvin, Brett, Amber, and of course, our super producer behind the scenes, Luke, who is the glue that holds the NGPA together. Thank you all for joining us, and good luck to everyone on their applications.